for part two. Okay.
Woo!
Yeah, but all right. So we were talking about potential Adonalsium nonsense,
Yes.
which is deep Cosmere lore. So we're not going to get too much into that. But
Yeah. I jumped
one,
ahead because my brain went burr.
yeah, Shane jumped like 3 books.
Let the record reflect to the audience. I have not read that far.
uh, to give you a context on Adonalsium as far as the Mistborn Era 1 goes, the name Adonalsium is mentioned one time in the third book, and that's it. And it's in an epigraph.
No shit.
Yep, that's it.
Huh.
So
That I respect your PlayStation username even more now because that's like a deep cut nerd reference.
it is, but it's less so as you get into the Stormlight Archive.
Fair.
Um, so the last thing out of chapter 4 that I had written down notes about is the 11th metal. Uh,
Yes, this is what I wanted to talk to you about.
all right, go for it.
So they talk about this mystery 11th metal. Now I'm gonna make some like nerd references here and talk about alchemy and
Woo.
like alchemy in our world, where a lot of the times people will reference fire, water, earth, and air as like primary elements, and they say, okay, there's this fifth element that sometimes gets talked about called spirit. Some alchemists and people who study mysticism often say that like this is spirit or willpower. In this context, my brain first thought of molybdenum, where I was like, okay, molybdenum is a fantastic metal enhancer, and it's in everything. And then the more that I thought about it, the more I was like, well, this is something that nobles get access to. Like regular people wouldn't get access to. If this was a metal enhancer, it would be in a lot of things. So like that's not quite right. And so I thought, okay, what is a metal that people in certain time periods thought, yes, this metal is precious, it must be saved, it must be like used or revered in high aspects. And I thought about mercury, quicksilver. And so that was what this metal reminded me of, was like, could this be a type of quicksilver? Like a catch-all that does a lot of different things, and it's just dependent on the user to make those different things come to life.
Fascinating. I love the way that you're like diving into your points of reference, the things that you have studied and learned about, and trying to pull them into our story here. This is great.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's a lot of fun because I've in the several stories that we've read so far about the magic systems that Sanderson creates.
Uh-huh.
There's always a moment for me where I'm like, "Oh, this this is not strange. This makes perfect sense." And it's because of those like weird frame of reference points that I have where I can be like, "Oh,
Hmm.
this might seem funky, but it's really not."
Yeah, it's it's funky, but it's like it makes sense because it's a background because I have information on it. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's awesome.
So yeah, thank you for letting me go on that rant. That was my thought process with that.
I like that. I I as more medals get revealed, I want to see like how you react to it, like your thought process on it. You know,
Cool.
because you've been taking stabs at different things, and um, what as we started to learn some of the medals this week, and you're a little off, but you're in the right place. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
and there is no way for you to actually completely guess. You know, because I think I don't know how to what extent Sanderson applied his logic to these medals, but
Yeah.
It's cool to hear your point of view, and I like that.
Thank you.
Um, so now, chapter 5, moving through this now.
Hmm.
This was my favorite chapter. This chapter holds the cool moment, kind of quote unquote, for me. Just because I love the combat that
Yeah, that was wild.
Mistborn, like when they go into combat and they flare their different metals, and I love that. That's some of my favorite parts of these books. Um, Before we get to that, did you catch in the beginning of the chapter the reference to the deepness?
The deepness. Let me check my notes. Because I'm pulling up chapter 5 now.
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing of chapter 4, I like to
Yeah.
add a funny note, and so this is my funny note.
Okay.
When they talk about how much they're actually going to try and steal, I wrote down, wow, that sounds like fuck you money.
It does, doesn't it? It is a ton of money.
And to me, it was like, wow, that's an astronomical amount of money. It's very clear none of these people are in it for the money.
Yeah. Nope. They don't care about the cash at all.
And apologies, what was your question as I'm checking my notes?
The deepness. So
The
is
deepness.
in the epigraph of chapter 5.
Yes. To me, that was where I started to have that note of the beginning chapter bids seem to echo Kelsier and what he's going through and what he's doing, and that deepness could be like grief and him dealing with the things that he's dealt with in order to like push through. And that
Okay.
was kind of like how I thought about it.
Okay. I like that. I like where you're going with that. Um, so the what I wrote, what I just wrote is the deepness, and then I go nothing left of this land but bones and dust. So I can totally see where you're thinking about Kelsier. I mean, that could reflect his mental space, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
because he is, as much as he is smiling, he is pain.
Yes.
Oh, I have a funny one.
Sure.
So at one point, the quote, "The trick is to never stop looking. There's always another secret." And I wrote under that, "Brandon, you cheeky fuck."
Yeah, it checks out.
Yeah, because that's how he is, right? Just like never stop looking. There's always another secret. That's how I feel his books are. Like you got to be on your toes.
Yeah. No, I thought that was pretty sweet. And like it's like him talking about the ash, where you talk about it and you talk about it and then you normalize it. And so he mentioned that point of like, oh, there's always another secret, there's always another thing. And
Hmm.
then sure enough, a couple pages later, like there's a moment where he's like, oh, this is where this thing is. There's always another secret. And so like I feel like it's moments like that where you're essentially telling the reader, hey, apply this in principle real quick because it's going to come up.
Yep. Hmm. Yeah, if you're paying attention, his writing's not hard to follow. You'll get where you need to get, and you'll get extra. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if you're going quick, if you stop looking, you're gonna miss stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we talked about Mare already, Kelsier's wife. We talked about clubs coming back and doing things for the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we got to see a couple more noble house names: Urbane, Tenert, and Venture. Venture being the place that Kelsier goes to. Um, I so I already mentioned I love the fighting in this chapter, but I also really enjoy the descriptions of Luthadel at night with the mist and how they explained the keeps and the colors and the glowing of the mist based off the lighting. Um, I love everything about that. I find
Yeah,
it,
very well detailed.
yeah. Visually, I have a very easy time picturing things, so I think I'm gonna be like massively disappointed when it comes time for the movie, because I'm going to have this visual style in my head, and if it doesn't hit it, it's gonna be like oof. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally do. Especially with like a story you love,
Yeah.
story that's fresh in your mind.
Hmm.
Like, as you and I have also talked about as a side note, like certain adaptations, and you watch those adaptations and you're like, I don't know how you did that. You're wrong. And like it's totally our preference and like how our brains like perceive things, but like there are just some times where that comes up and you're like, that was stupid.
Yeah, you're like, ugh, uh, you could have done that a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally feel that. But no, the visuals in this chapter alone have been just very nice for me personally.
Yeah.
This is when we start seeing a little bit more about the. We finally start seeing Elmancy, like a full-blown Mistborn, using all of their Metalborn skills at once.
Hmm.
It's fascinating. Um, the use for iron and steel, where like they kind of have these blue lines that connect to different forms of metal that they can push on and pull on. And it's
Hmm.
all about, it has to do with the weight of the object versus the Allomancer's weight. Um, it it makes it for a very unique way of traveling, where they're kind of able to soar through the air, and their weight can kind of cause things like arcing, rather than just kind of like going through in a straight line. They kind of swing almost on these metal lines.
Yes. I had as a funny moment here. I was exhausted the other night when I was reading one of these chapters, and I'm watching like in my head, reading this, listening to him like bounce that coin all over the place so he can travel, and I'm like, oh my god, this is sick. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, he's using this coin like a magnet,
Uh huh.
where the force of it is just like either pushing him away or pulling him towards the thing, whatever the thing is that he wants it to be. And that was where kind of like the exhaustion hit for me, where I was like, oh my god, this is. I hope I'm understanding this right because like, whoa, I'd feel pretty dumb if I didn't catch this. But like the more that I read it, the more it's like, okay, no, it's the metal that is like pushing and pulling, but the way that Sanderson is describing it is very maglev.
It is very maglev, kind of like, um, you think about it like whatever piece of metal they're connected to is the opposite pole on the magnet, and the Almancer is the other pole. So like the
Mm-hmm.
Almancer is north, and the other piece of metal is south, and they're kind of like that.
Yeah.
Um, I see it like that also. However, the Almancer is pushing literally, and they can exert different amount of force, almost as like they can increase or decrease the level of magnetism.
Yeah.
Um, but it kind of reminds me of that, and it's very reminiscent of like something like Magneto, if you from like Marvel Comics.
Oh yeah.
I see it like that as well. And then Iron is like the opposite. You know, you're pulling things towards you. And at one point, instead of pushing off to reach a ledge, Kelsier pulls on a metal object that's heavier than him and pulls himself up.
Like what he does
So
with the safe.
right, exactly. Where like he's like bracing himself against the wall and using, and the only reason he's not falling to the ground is because of the elementic pool. Um, I thought that was fascinating.
No,
Um,
absolutely. That was pretty sweet.
yeah. So also, at one point with the Noble House Venture, he's in there. He kind of goes into a garden in like a greenhouse inside this keep, and the plants have color to them, and Kelsier makes a point to think about that. Um, it seems like Kelsier has an obsession with um, the plant life on the planet and how dead it is. You know?
Yeah, and going back to the epigraph, is that what the right word?
Yes, I
Yeah,
believe so.
thank you.
Yeah.
And going back to the epigraph, like how we talked about a little bit about it earlier, where that one part said, "Oh, like this is the snow-capped peaks, this is the lush area," and like now it's all ash, it's all barren. And I'm gonna make a Golden Sun reference here. I wonder if somebody started touching something they weren't supposed to touch, and something went pop.
Like relics of some sort, or like in Golden Sun, the alchemy was removed from the world.
Yeah, and like I have to wonder if it could be something simple where like maybe more people were meant to use Allomancy, more people were meant to do these certain things, and the fact that
Hmm.
a lot of people aren't
Hmm.
is like the planet being like, well, we kind of need this function, we kind of need more of this going, and like, but I don't want to lean into that theory because I think it more that the Lord Ruler in him becoming like god-like, or however we want to describe that, a piece of divinity, I think is the correct term. I
Yes,
think he touched something he wasn't supposed to touch, and it like fucked up the planet.
when becoming the sliver of
Yeah,
infinity, like
I think that was like a response of like, oh, you were not supposed to do that. You were not supposed to touch this. This is the consequence, and he just doesn't care because didn't care about much.
or what if it's more? It doesn't matter if he touched it or not, but he's a man, and man is
Mmm,
flawed, and when you touch a
that's a
piece
better
of
way to put it.
God, there's complications, and he wasn't ready for those.
Yeah, I like that a lot more. That's what I was getting at.
Uh,
Absolutely right.
okay, yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, I look forward to you seeing the moments where we start learning about everything. Because that they're the moments in Sanderson's books where I'm like, this man is a genius, because he is planting seeds, and like he'll even plant seeds in like old books, and you'll go and read another book, and you're like, wait a second, hold on a sec, and it's fun. It's fun. What else did I write have here?
Um, I want to add the way that Kelsier cut the guard's head off. That was pretty damn epic. I'm not gonna
Oh God, yeah. Or like
lie.
at one point, like, um, so he fights a bunch of people called Haze Killers, and I mean, so Haze Killers, are specifically designed to fight Elementers, and we alluded to this earlier, and we said we would talk about it.
Yeah,
But
the opposite of Mistborn.
right, so these Haze Killers have no metal on them whatsoever, but Kelsier decides to take his coin pouch and like embed it in the guy's shield, and he just pushes him out a window. Um, and at the end of the fight, after everything's all said and done, Kelsier walks over to his mangled body, and I'm pretty sure the guy's still alive and he's just fucked beyond belief. And he just takes his coins back and he's like, "See ya." Like, this guy.
It was cold blooded. That's what that was.
Oh, dude, this guy is ready to kill for his cause. He will kill anybody. Doesn't care who gets in his way. Like, I think the way he sees it at this point is like he's done. My life's over. My wife's dead. Like, I don't care at this point. I'm gonna
Yeah,
kill anybody who gets in my way.
and like again, can't blame him because like if you're in that if you're in that position where you lost everything, you lost the person you love, you lost your life basically, and somebody comes along and says, "I'm going to make your life worse," he's like, "No, no, you're not. It's
Yeah.
already bad. I don't want to hear anything you have to say." And this is like what's left over from that. And to me, as I'm reading this, I'm like, no, that makes 100% sense.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, Kel's just like, what? This guy says he's God. Well, I'm gonna murk him. Like just what it is.
Yeah, the nonchalant way of like, yeah, I don't care. I'm killing him.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, you can't. He's like, no, I'm pretty sure I can.
Yeah. He's like,
Like that, like that's some brass stones.
pun intended.
Yes,
No,
pun intended.
them some pewter stones.
Them some pewter stones.
That's right. And yeah, he's like, some homeless man told me about this 11th metal. He said I could kill God with it. I'm just gonna go do that. Wait,
Yeah.
where did you get this? Don't worry about it. Where I got it from.
Yeah. Why are you asking questions?
Yeah, you work for him or something? Jeez, all right. You ask too many questions, Kelsier's gonna murk you. Like,
He gonna get you.
yeah, he gonna get you. Gotta be quicker than that.
I thought it was like incredibly fascinating when he was talking to that one of the guys on his crew, like that older person, and he was just like, "Well, yes, you can maybe get that medal. Like, where are you gonna get it though?" And he's like, "I just don't have to be careful."
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the moment where I was like, "Oh, damn.
And he's
Okay,
talking to Doxson. He's like, yeah,
yeah."
I don't gotta be quiet no more. And everyone's like, there's like a pause. You can feel the tension. This man's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And like, I feel like Vin at this point is just like, should I be with these guys? Like, it's not that like she's afraid of them anymore. It's more like these guys are crazy.
Yes. That's kind of how I saw it too, where it was very much that moment of like, "Oh, I don't want none of this. I don't want to be around this."
Yeah.
And with with Vin, the one of the things that I thought, this was just like a theory that I'm gonna jump back to real quick.
Sure.
He keeps mentioning his brother, and he's like, "Oh yeah, he'll join. We just gotta convince him. He'll be okay.
Marsh.
We just gotta
Yeah.
talk to him." I get the suspicion that that is where he's going to use Vin's luck. Because she also can, like, convince people of things, and she can recognize when it's being done to her. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was like, hey, this is when I'm going to call in this favor. I need you to convince him that everything's going to be cool.
Okay. Okay. I like that theory. I like that theory. Um, trying to remember. I'm like racking my
No
brain. I'm
worries.
like, dude, it's been so long since I've read this now. It's been like 2 years. Uh, we'll see. I like Kelsier's brother. He plays a pretty large role in the narrative as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm curious to see what you think of the character when they show up.
Sweet. Okay.
Because I don't know if they mentioned his name yet, but his name's Marsh. So we'll see. I mean, and Marsh is very well aware of Vin because if we remember, that's the reason that Doxson knows about Vin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Vin actually already tried to use her allomancy on him, if I'm remembering correctly. Um, that's how Marsh found out who she was, because
Oh,
Cayman brought her.
right. Because there was that moment where he was like, you need to make sure everything goes smooth, and like had that like talk with her and stuff like that. Okay.
Right. That's chapter 1. I think it was in. It might have been chapter 2. Now I'm like. How did you find out your brother came and tried to swindle Marsh a few months ago? He brought the girl with him. And then, two, actually, Cayman's little good luck charm is becoming moderately famous in the right circles. I'm still not sure if she knows what she is or not.
I did not make the catch that at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Marsh is aware. Yeah. I like what you're thinking, though. You know?
Yeah, no, I totally like biffed and didn't even remember that, but yeah. That's
Yeah, it's all good. A lot of information.
yes. No, a lot of good information, but yeah, no, this last chapter is very very detailed, very Kelsier focused, but in a way that was not like, let's explore his emotions, let's explore this. It was, he is doing this thing by himself. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, you've had a lot of talking, you've had almost 100 pages of building. Let's show you some action. It's time to get some action going, you know. Which is refreshing. It was cool.
Yeah, and one of the notes I wrote, like, soft metals burn faster, which has been like echoing to me in my head of like, oh, when they're burning these metals, their body is like a furnace. And so softer metals are going to burn faster because you're using them.
Ah, that's so clever. I didn't even pick up on that. Nice grab there. Um, Another thing, when they talk about flaring their metals, that is them burning them quicker on purpose also.
Get some
For,
juice.
yeah, you're flaring it. It makes sense, you know? You're going to
Yeah.
get a little bit more out of it.
Yeah, them using the body as basically a blast furnace to me is fascinating because it's this magic system is basically like saying, okay, everyone is a blacksmith in the sense that you have to use this like currency. You have to use this metal to get something.
Uh-huh.
And every single metal does something different. Some are enhancers, some create like direct effects. I did like the entire fight where he was using the coins against the shields and like these people I found it a little bit cheeky that they were called haze killers and it's like ah ha ha you're the opposite. That's funny. um
Oh my god, I just realized. God damn. Cause the haze is like mist. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
very cheeky. Very
yeah.
I approve.
That's kind of funny. I like that. Mm.
No,
Okay.
but yeah, that was nice action, and I like at the end. You had texted me. You were just like, "Oh, that last chapter, Chef's Kiss," and I was like, "Oh, what happens in the last chapter?" The moment after, like, he gets away from everybody, the safe is on the ground. He
Uh-huh.
digs through it. He gets what he wants, puts it in his pocket, and just walks away. I was like, "Yeah, okay, fair, fair response. That makes sense."
Yep. Yeah, he's got his ATM.
Yep, he's got his ATM. Um, I want to talk about the cloak, if that's okay.
Oh, the mist cloak? Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Let's talk about the mist cloak.
So it's made of like all of these different ribbons. And I'm picturing this like interwoven like silk ribbon type thing that flows. And like people see this and they're supposed to go, "Oh, Mistborn." And like but we know that Mistborn typically like those powers are nobility. And one of the things that he said to Vin was, yeah, most people only have one. And if you have more than one, you have them all.
Yep.
And so I'm looking at this, like, the way that he's describing this Mistcloak, and I'm picturing this, like, gray, ever flowy, like, if you think Moon Knight, the way that it, like, the wraps,
Yes.
how the wraps form stuff. So I was picturing that, and then I'm thinking to myself, well, if this is a specific cloak for Mistborn, why do Mistborn have a specific cloak? It's not he doesn't wear things as a status. That to me was, this is function.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't me showing off. This is me wearing this because it has a purpose. And like, he used it to hide from the mist and like to make himself a little bit more easy to get around. But it definitely did give me the vibe of like, okay, this thing can do more things. I just haven't learned what those more things are yet.
I got you. Like, what's the functionality here?
Yes. Like, it do something, I just want to know what it do.
Yeah. It also, keep in mind, it could be as simple as scary, intimidation.
Yeah, it could be scary.
And if for visual, a couple weeks ago I had sent you pictures from my Mistborn leatherbound, and
Yeah.
one of the pictures I sent was a picture of Vin with some of Luthadel in the background, and she's wearing the mist cloak, so you could get a good look at it there.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to double
Um,
check, take a look at that picture, but yeah.
yeah, it's a pretty cool looking thing. It'd be neat to have one, like a cosplay
That'd
for
be pretty sweet.
Mist Cloak, yeah. Um, I'm gonna send it to you again so you have it, but that way you don't have to dig. Um, so I gotta ask you, when
Mm-hmm.
if you had to pick an ability and you could not be a Mistborn, what ability would you pick so far?
All right, let me take a
If
look at your picture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's roughly what I was picturing too.
Okay, cool.
Like all those wispy things, and I'm like, that does a thing.
Yeah.
Um. Hmm. So push and pull are counted as two separate abilities, right?
Yep. Yep. If
Shit.
you're misting, you either have steel or you have iron.
Okay.
Or yeah. And let me go through them actually real quick because we got most of them already.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll avoid any spoilers. Iron pulls on nearby metals. Steel pushes nearby metals. Tin enhances senses. Pewter enhances physical abilities. Zinc soothes emotions. Brass riots emotions. Copper hides allomancy. And bronze reveals allomancy. We haven't heard of bronze yet, but it's not that big of a
Not that
spoiler.
big of a thing.
Yeah.
I think I would either like to be able to um calm emotions. I mean, I've learned how to do that pretty much as is with people in situations, but like having that on hand sounds nice. But I'm leaning more towards being able to pull myself because this is me being lazy. This is just straight up laziness. My office is on the 5th floor where I work. You know how nice it would be for me to just go yoink and just shoot myself up to that floor when I need to go do something?
Yeah.
Ah,
That'd be so nice. You're just gonna like grapple and hook your way up, basically.
yeah. I would do that all the time. Even
That,
when it was unnecessary, just because it'd be fun.
that would be really fun. For me, I'm either taking pewter for enhanced physical abilities, just because like the
Hmm.
endurance there would be really nice,
Yeah.
or I'm doing the soothe emotions because I feel like that would probably be the most useful in today's world just being able to like soothe people.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like being able to have a conversation with somebody, and instead of having it be like a, oh, okay, like somebody might get upset about this or whatever. It's just a, no, it's fine. It's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Let's just chat.
yeah. Just calm yourself. Relax.
Yeah.
There's no need to be upset right now. Yeah, I agree. And then my last question for you, and then you can talk whatever you want to, or we can finish.
Yeah.
But any theories going forward, either for the next 3 chapters, or for the series as a whole, or the book as a whole? What do you think?
Well, my big theory is that they are making this sound way too easy of going and killing this guy.
Yeah.
And so there's two schools of thought here. The first is it is going to be that easy, but then the thing that happens next is bigger. And that is what they have to deal with. Or it does not go according to plan. Nothing goes according to plan. And it ends up with maybe Kelsier getting put back in the mines again. And Vin has to come and save him.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
And like maybe they've upgraded their security and done other things, being like, oh, you were the only one to escape. Now that you're back, we're going to make sure you can never leave, blah, 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 or something. And she's got to come in and like figure out how to get in there. And then it becomes like a Vin journey because she needs to have something happen to get her confidence up. And there needs to be like, we've already seen some of the hero's journey with Kelsier, but we haven't seen that with Vin.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I'm working with at the moment.
Right. You're like, okay, a moment for Vin to grow, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I got.
That. I like your ideas as far as like giving Vin a chance to grow. I think Vin needs a chance to grow.
Yep.
When or how that happens, that'll be to be seen. I really like your theories. I'm not going to make my own theories because it's hard for me to be like, yeah, this is what I think is going to happen and not completely spoil the book for you.
Right, no, fair.
But I think that you have, like, you're pretty good at analyzing, you're good at drawing conclusions, and I think you have a good idea of where things are going.
Sweet.
And it's just the way you analyze things. There's been so many times where I'm like, hold on to that thought, like,
I honestly, like, can I say something funny?
Yeah.
I remember when we first talked, like the first 3 chapters that we did, the prologue and 1 and 2, I felt like there was a few moments, and I say this with love, where you were like hearing me talk and you were like, would you shut the fuck up? Like, you need to stop talking.
There was definitely,
I don't know what those moments were, but like I got that vibe.
There's definitely one moment where that was kind of like the vibe, and I was just like, this guy, what's he doing? But yeah, because I remember at one point I was like, did you look things up? Yeah. It's okay.
This is why I wanted to read like 3 chapters at a time, because like doing this kind of analysis sometimes is, in the past it's been hard for me. Yeah. And like now that I can like take my time with it, it's like, oh, I'm having a lot better of a time now that I can just like chill and go through this bit by bit.
Yeah, I've been trying to do it like I break it up. I'll either do a chapter a night or I'll do two and then one, depending
Hmm.
on my vibe. Um, I've been enjoying that, and I have the audiobooks as well, so I'll be listening and reading, so I'm like kind of pulling it in all sides, you know.
Hmm. That's smart. I bet that comes in handy really nicely.
Oh, it's enjoyable, especially because I really love the narrator who does the audiobooks. He's he's pretty good. Michael Kramer, shout out to him.
Sweet, yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. I think that's gonna be it, man, for today. Unless you have other points you want to talk about.
Nope, we covered everything that I had.
Cool. All right. Well, if people are listening and they're enjoying this, continue. Next week we're gonna continue with three more chapters on Mistborn. Um, we would it's 6, 7, and 8, I believe, is where we're gonna be at.
Yep.
Um, and again, if you want to read, we're still really early on in this book, and it would not be completely unreasonable for someone to catch up. So
Yeah.
grab it, grab the book. It's really cheap. You can get all three for like $10 or
Yeah.
something crazy like that, as long as you can find the mass market paperbacks. Um, well, Shane, this has been fun. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah. No, me too. Thanks to everybody who was listening, and
Yeah,
we're gonna say goodnight.
yeah. Good night, y'all.